Ian and Craig, if you wouldn't mind going off mute and turning your cameras on, we're going to get started here in just a moment. We still have a few folks trickling in. So thank you everyone for joining us, our partners, customers, analysts, and prospective customers from around the globe. I'm going to share out my screen now because we are at 1:30 Standard Time. So the title of this session, thank you everyone for spending the time with us, is, can you guys see my screen now? Let me just share properly. It's not quite on the right. The title of this session is Empowering Your Team with Low Code. We are honored, privileged, and excited to have Ian Hunt with us today, the Chief Customer Officer from Close Brothers, as well as one of Acquia's best and brightest, Craig Hanna, the product manager for Site Studio, which is formerly known as Acquia Cohesion. For many of you who are joining today, regardless of your role within digital, you've heard the term low code, and you've heard the term low code mentioned beside categories that are transforming business and digital transformation. You've heard it beside AI, you've heard it beside machine learning, you've heard it beside things like planning and data science. But it still may be unclear how low code can drive an impact on your bottom line. And that's why we're really excited to have Ian here to tell their story at Close Brothers, and how low code has played a part of their bigger transformation. Low code, as noted by one of the top 3 analyst firms, is a $7 billion market today. It's slated to be a $14 billion market by 2024. And that is with conservative estimates. And we'll touch on the reason why low code is becoming such an integral part of organizations across the globe's digital strategy. But before we get into the agenda today, I just wanted, you've heard from me, if you've been on any other Drupal Cloud track sessions, I am the Director of Product Marketing for Acquia's Drupal Cloud. Craig, did you want to say hello quickly about your work history as it relates to digital, as real quickly, as well as your specific role here at Acquia? And then, of course, we want to make sure Ian has the floor to talk a little bit about his experience and his current role and scope at Close Brothers. So Craig, over to Ian.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief, given that with the time we've got. But my role here is product manager at Site Studio. Before we were acquired by Acquia, I've been with Cohesion, as it was previously known, for 2 or 3 years, and I've been in digital for about 25 years. But today, my focus is entirely on Acquia Site Studio. So I'll hand over to Ian because I'm aware of the shortness of the session and want to keep us going.
Thanks, Craig.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening, everyone, from a dark and chilly London. My name's Ian Hunt. I'm the Chief Customer Officer at Close Brothers. I joined Close Brothers about 4 years ago, and Close Brothers, was a really traditional business with a lot of manual processes, limited digitization, and really I was brought in to bring a lot more focus on client centricity or customer centricity, for us to be more data driven and to drive the right sort of front to back digitization for our high touch model. And over my time here, I've focused on building out a series of center of excellences in the areas of customer experience, digital design, data science, automation and data viz, and sales excellence. So a lot of the things that have just been mentioned in the context of low code. And briefly prior to that, I was an associate partner at IBM in their interactive experience business. And in my role there, I led the mobile practice for the communication sector across Europe.
Thank you, and we're thrilled to have you with us today and for the opportunity to share your experience and your story. And before we get into some of the details of the digital journey Ian has led at Close Brothers, we wanted to just quickly set the agenda for today. And we at Acquia, we always start with the customer and why the things that we're building and investing in matter to the customer. And so we'll touch on that briefly, how low code specifically has impacted Close Brothers and their unique business as a part of their overarching transformation story. And then finally, we'll get into a brief demo of Acquia Studio, which, as I mentioned, is a part of their transformation. And so I'll move to the next slide here. So why does low code matter to customers? And one of the things that has been a common theme across Drupal Cloud track sessions is the recognition that the research and buying process is moving online, and customers are demanding content at each phase in that buyer's journey. And the challenge that as proposed to organizations who are trying to connect with customers is it's no longer sufficient to deliver marketing content, general awareness content about your firm, brief content about what makes you different. Customers are looking to go a level deeper. And so this requires organizations to distribute the digital workload. It can't just be on IT. It has to include subject matter experts. It needs to include folks who are close to the business in their specific region. So regional leaders, as well as the core marketing team and agencies who typically contribute. And so this means that they need a new set of tools because the traditional content management tools haven't empowered various departments to deliver that content. And one of the things you'll hear from Ian here momentarily is that the buyer journey is no longer, and customer journey are no longer linear. And so thinking about content, not just across the different phases of the life cycle of a customer or prospect, but across the different channels and how they're moving between those two different modalities. So Ian, with that, we're really excited to have you tell the Close Brothers story and the journey that you've been on for the last few years and some of the results that you guys have accomplished. So I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thanks very much. So, I mean, many of you on the call may never have heard of Close Brothers. We're a merchant bank based predominantly in the UK and Ireland, and we serve a variety of specialist markets. We have about 27 different businesses, and we have financing, deposits, securities, and wealth management. And to give you an idea of our diversity, we finance everything, as you'll see in the background there, from carnivals, kegs, wind turbines, private jets, football transfers, you name it. You know, any market where there's a specialist nature and expertise is required to support our customers to really thrive. And that is where it really comes back to our purpose, which is, you know, a high touch model about working with, you know, the people and businesses of Britain to thrive over the long time. And really for us, it's all about the value we can provide beyond the finance and not just the finance. If you just jump to the next slide. To give a little bit more context, we have a variety of different customers in our business. And it relates back to what Ryan was talking about before, in that, you know, all of our customers and partners have different needs. We have B2C markets, B2B markets, and we also have intermediated markets where we have partners in the form of motor dealers and brokers who we rely on to provide our services to their customers. And that is a true partnership. We have to be able to deliver services to them in the moment that matters to make sure their businesses can grow. At the same time, we have responsibilities to those customers as well, once they buy our services, to support them through the life of the product. So to give you an idea of the diversity of our businesses, in our premium finance business, we have about 3.5 million consumers and about 3,500 brokers we support. And if you compare that to our property finance business, which is a B2B in nature, they have about 800 businesses. So you can see the needs, both in terms of the support they want and the type of digitized services, you know, varies greatly. You just jump to the next slide. So digital is an important focus. For us, digital isn't everything. It's important to put digital in the context of how it's an enabler to our business, not that it is our business. So when we think about the focus, it's all about how do we provide a human experience to our customers that's underpinned by these variety of digital services. And these digital services come in the form of, you know, making our experts even better. So what are the sort of insights or capabilities we can serve up to the people that support our customers? And on the flip side of that, how do we make things faster? How do we offer our customers more choice? And how do we be more flexible both in terms of how we service them, but the sort of products we offer as well. So that's what digital means to us. It's front to back, and it's often a tricky word, isn't it? Because digital can mean a million things to different people. But one important element of digital is obviously the online journey and our websites. And I mentioned earlier that we were a pretty traditional business, and we've been on a pretty significant journey over the years that I've been here. And I certainly don't put it down to myself for that journey. I've played a part, but there's been a lot of people involved, and we've been in a major transition in moving from a place where the recognition that digital wasn't even that important to a place now where we see that it's fundamental to how we enable businesses in terms of what Ryan said, both in finding the information they need, capturing the insights to help their business grow, for us to generate leads, and for us to be able to offer them support they need at a time that suits them best. And it's really been this transition through this process that, you know, made us realize, not just on our websites, but more broadly, how beholden we were to IT in making changes, and making changes quick and in that moment. So, you know, we were in a situation where we might have wanted to we knew something needed to change, it had to happen now, but did we need to raise a change to make that happen? You know, that was impossible for us, and we realized it couldn't be the way. And so, you know, the transition through to, you know, where we are now in terms of, you know, Drupal 8 with Site Studio has been fundamental, and I'll talk a bit more about why in a moment. But there's been a few key, I would say, inflection points that have enabled us on our journey that we're on. We're by no means complete, but enabled us on where we're on. And the first was around establishing a series of centre of excellences, or centres of expertise, as some would call them. You know, this was the element that enabled us to understand what we needed to do, bring that thought leadership to the business, and help shape that general direction. The second part in the context of digital was starting to establish a design system for our digital services aligned with our brand, that would ensure we had high levels of consistency where it matters. Each of our businesses have unique elements, so we still allow for that variation, but also making sure the user was really good, and then we'd be able to track and improve that. And then, of course, the evolution of our sites and the transition to Site Studio, because this really plays to this, you know, low-code message of empowering the business to do what they need to do. You know, whether it's giving them the full autonomy. They are the vision holders for their customers. They understand the inside of where they need to go. They know the messages they want to place, and as a result, they need to be able to do that to their sites as and when they need to. And that's been a real shift for us, both in terms of being able to innovate, drive greater conversion, but also in terms of lowering that cost of change as well. And I think the fourth one, an important one in this journey as well, is picking the right partners. And we've been in partnership with Coherence, who is our agency, for, you know, many years now, and having a partner that understands the DNA of your organization and can help bring that insight and bring you on that journey as well. So they've been four quite fundamental things that have moved us forward. If you flip to the next slide, and this won't come as any surprise, I don't think, based on what we've been saying, but if I ask the marketing teams in the business, what's most important to you? Now, these three things really come to the fore. I need to be agile. I need the tool sets and the capabilities that mean I can act and respond in the moment or when I need to with speed. I need the autonomy to do it myself, with the right governance, of course, but the autonomy to do it myself or have people in my team who can make that change. And the last is about this whole concept of insight-driven, iterative, continuous improvement. So being able to learn, test, evolve is fundamental. I think we're still making strides on this. Some of our businesses do it better than others. It's been a real step forward, and the ability to do this with the support of Site Studio has been essential. If you jump to the next slide, I wanted to bring to life you know, what autonomy and agility has meant for us. So some will be surprised that less than 12 months ago in our deposits business, we didn't even have an online banking platform. Pretty much everything was still done by post, and an account opening from you know, being found and aggregated took 10 days, which may surprise many, but then the average age of our customer in that segment was in their 70s. And the perception was that they didn't necessarily want online banking. We launched this in December last year, and within the first 12 months, we've now moved to a position where 70% of all online applications go through our website. And our ability to sort of adapt this, tweak that journey, iron out the kinks, has been essential in continuing to drive this up, and we think now this is only going to continue to grow. And our ability to reduce that opening time to, to a day, to 2 days has been fantastic. We jump to another example. We've all been impacted by COVID-19, and it's probably the focus of many of the discussions that you've heard around today. But, fundamental for customers in this time period was getting payment support, people who weren't necessarily going to be able to make their next payment. Our operations were, stretched. We had thousands and thousands of calls coming in. And so we wanted to find a way to allow customers to get help really quickly. We used Site Studio to really shuffle and optimize the messaging on our website, and then rapidly build out forms online that would automate through the use of robotics as well, the automated processing of forbearance requests. And we rapidly got to a stage where 35% of all requests were going through online. Now, that may not seem high, but when you think of the emotive nature of not being able to pay, we're pretty happy, and we're still optimizing that up now. And then the third one I was going to talk about, which also relates to COVID, only because it's fresh on the mind, is our ability to launch new schemes online. So within the UK, the government launched a government-backed loan scheme called the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, or CBILS for short. And really, the goal of this is to be able to get money as quickly as possible to those in need who should get it. And we were able to stand this service up, integrated into our Salesforce platform in 3 days. And this is into a business that had never had an online application process before. So for some of you out there, that may not be a huge deal. For us, we're absolutely over the moon, and the ability to do that through, both some elements through low code, but through some elements of working with our partner as well, was fundamental.
Sorry, I was a little there on the slide.
Sorry, say that?
Sorry, I was a little bit fast here.
That's okay. I need to be shuffled on sometimes. I tend to talk a bit too much. So I think, look, we've made good progress. There's a lot more we need to do, but we're kind of constantly looking forward. And the elements on the right are real focus areas, probably for everyone at the moment. How do we lower our cost? How do we reduce risk in this environment, whilst at the same time still trying to drive growth across the business and save space for our people to innovate? And to date, Site Studio has been a fundamental thing in enabling that, because it has freed up cost to enable us to spend money elsewhere and build new things to innovate in areas we wouldn't have been able to before. It's been able to gain more intelligence and optimize our site, which ensures our customers come to our site, find the products and services they need to drive growth, or to minimize the volume of contact that comes into our contact centers, and hence reduce costs. But there's still a challenge we have in our way, and the little boxes you see on the left at the top, they're all the individual code bases we have for our websites. So pretty much every business has their own code base at this stage. And so why does that matter, do you ask? Well, that means every time a business invests in building a new widget or component on their site, in theory, the design system and the design pattern that we establish can be reused, but that component isn't available to other businesses to drag and drop onto their site and adopt, which means we have repeat investment across our sites. So we're working through a discovery phase at the moment, where we're looking to move potentially to a single code base for all of our businesses. The assurance and the thing we must maintain is still to give all of our businesses their own autonomy and their own ability outside, in line with our integrated design system, to still apply the unique natures of their business, but to fundamentally arm the businesses with a toolbox of widgets and components that they can apply to their business with complete autonomy or with limited intervention from our agency partner. And we think this is a huge opportunity for success for us and fundamental to the ongoing growth and advancement of our businesses. So, for us, we still think we're early on our journey, and looking forward with we see low code as key.
Cheers, Ian. First, congrats on your success, an amazing transformation story, which I know that you're at the heart of driving that, and in partnership with, you mentioned your agency Coherence, and I guess just a few quick observations, just the velocity from 3 days for a new site for a business unit who never had it, to utilizing low code to transform your consumer banking side of things. It's really just amazing to see the spectrum in terms of how you guys have thought about using low code, as well as the different folks who are being empowered to use it. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons I started this session talking about low code being a $14 billion market in 2024, is because of the transformational results that you've seen in the broad application across service, customer engagement, and reacting to some of the market forces in a way that it sounds like you weren't able to before. So we're really thankful to have you on today and to share your story at Close Brothers.
No problem.
If anyone joined late, please, this session will be recorded. We are going to go a little bit over. We do want to show you the proof, what's actually happening behind the scenes. And we're going to have Craig walk you through a quick demo of Site Studio and how it's been, and some of the things that Ian had alluded to and how it would work real time. So Craig, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to allow you to share, and we're probably going to go 3 or 4 minutes over here for folks on the line, but thanks for hanging with us. And thanks again, Ian.
No problem.
Thank you. Tab. That working for you guys?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, guys, so we are a little bit over, so I'll try and go as quickly as possible. So I'm actually taking on what Ian had said before around COVID, and using that theme. It's a big theme in our lives right now, so why not go? Why not go with it? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a page, and the hypothetical situation that we have is that one of the regions of the UK has been put under, or is getting put under lockdown that's harsher than the other regions. And so I'm just going to create a page where Close Brothers perhaps communicate to their business customers in that region to say that they're there for them. And I'm going to go really quickly, and it's obviously very theoretical, but we'll see how we get on in a couple of minutes. So here's the site. I'm going to go into the normal admin for the moment, and I'm just going to create a new page. I'm just going to create a basic page there. And what you'll see here, and I'm going to call this, I'll call this Wales lockdown. This is the region. And what you'll see here is our layout canvas. This is unique to Site Studio, and basically enables the drag and drop facilities that we were talking about earlier on. So I can just drag things onto the page. So in this case, I'm going to start off with a header, which is down there, and then I'm going to go with I'm just going to do a few of them, 2 column